The unexpected recruitment. The night was unusually quiet in the small research outpost on Europa's frozen surface. Dr. Elena Rodriguez adjusted her thermal gear, her breath forming delicate crystals in the recycled air of the habitat module. As the lead xenobiological research scientist, she had seen her share of unexpected discoveries, but nothing could have prepared her for what was about to unfold. A low, resonant hum began to build around the station's perimeter. Elena's hand instinctively moved to the communication panel, her fingers hovering over the emergency broadcast system. The station's other occupants, a diverse team of scientists, engineers, and support personnel, began to stir, sensing something was wrong. Jack Reeves, a former Special Forces operative turned mission security chief, was the first to react. His muscular frame moved with practiced efficiency, checking the station's defensive systems. "Everyone stay calm," he called out, though his own tension was palpable. The hum grew louder, and then, silence. A brilliant light erupted outside the habitat's reinforced windows. It wasn't the harsh white of an explosion, but a soft, almost liquid luminescence that seemed to pulse with an intelligence of its own. Elena watched in stunned silence as the light began to coalesce, taking on a vaguely humanoid shape. "Impossible," she whispered. The light spoke, not through sound, but directly into their minds. Each team member heard the message in their native language, a feat that defied all known principles of communication. "Humanity has been selected." The words carried no emotion, no threat, just a simple, absolute statement of fact. Kai Chen, the station's chief engineer, broke the silence. "Selected? Selected for what?" Another pulse of light, and suddenly holographic displays materialized throughout the habitat. Complex diagrams, star charts, and what appeared to be intricate challenge simulations flickered into existence. The images told a story of cosmic scale, civilizations rising and falling, species tested through unimaginable trials. The galactic proving grounds require participants, the mental voice continued. "Your species has been deemed worthy of assessment." Jack moved closer to Elena, his military training kicking in. "This isn't a request, is it?" The rhetorical question hung in the air. A figure emerged from the light, neither fully solid nor completely translucent. It appeared to be some form of representative, a mediator between humanity and whatever vast intelligence had chosen them. "You will send your most adaptable," the figure spoke aloud this time, its voice a melodic blend of tones that seemed to bypass their ears and resonate directly within their minds. 5 individuals. Diverse. Skilled. Representative of humanity's potential. Elena's scientific mind raced. This was first contact, but not the diplomatic encounter humanity had long imagined. This was a challenge, a test of some cosmic scale. Kai began analyzing the holographic data. Complex algorithms, technological schematics, and what looked like survival scenario simulations scrolled rapidly. "These aren't just random challenges," he muttered. "They're designed to push the absolute limits of technological and biological adaptation." The team exchanged glances. Jack's military background screamed caution. Elena's scientific curiosity burned with questions. Kai was already dissecting the technological implications. 2 other team members, Zara Williams, a brilliant psychologist specializing in extreme environment adaptation, and Marcus Novak, an expert in xenotechnology, remained silent, processing the magnitude of what was happening. "Preparation begins now," the entity declared. 60 standard cycles to prepare. The proving grounds await. The light began to recede, but not before leaving behind a series of data packets, technical specifications, cryptic instructions, and what appeared to be preliminary challenge parameters. As quickly as it had appeared, the extraordinary moment passed. The habitat returned to its normal state, save for the holographic displays still flickering with alien information. Jack was the first to speak. "Well, that's one hell of a recruitment process." Elena couldn't help but laugh, a mix of hysteria, excitement, and pure scientific wonder. I don't think we were asked. We were chosen. The team looked at each other, the weight of their unexpected mission settling around them. Humanity was about to be tested on a scale no one could have imagined. And they would be the ones to represent an entire species. The galactic proving grounds were waiting. Training and transformation. The next 48 hours were a blur of intense preparation. The habitat module had transformed into a high-stakes training ground, its sterile research environment now a crucible of human potential. Alien technology integrated seamlessly with their existing systems, creating training simulations that defied conventional understanding. Zara Williams stood before a holographic display, her psychological expertise pushed to its absolute limits. The training modules were unlike anything she had ever encountered, dynamic scenarios that seemed to read and adapt to each team member's deepest psychological triggers. It's not just testing physical capabilities, she explained to Jack, who was cycling through a particularly intense combat simulation. These challenges are designed to probe our mental resilience, our ability to adapt under extreme psychological pressure. Jack grunted, his muscular frame moving with precision through a combat scenario that shifted and morphed with each of his decisions. Holographic opponents materialized and disappeared, the environment changing from Arctic tundra to dense urban landscapes in milliseconds. Feels like the simulation is learning from me, he muttered. Kai Chen was in his element, surrounded by a constellation of holographic interfaces. Alien technological schematics danced around him, each one more complex than the last. The computational logic here is extraordinary, he called out to Elena. It's not just predictive, it's generative. These systems are creating challenges in real time based on our responses. Elena Rodriguez watched her team with a mixture of scientific fascination and growing concern. The alien technology was integrating with their human systems in ways that defied her understanding. Blood tests revealed subtle changes in their physiology, enhanced neural connections, improved cellular regeneration, heightened sensory perception. We're being upgraded, Marcus Novak observed, examining a holographic representation of his own genetic structure. As the team's xenotechnology expert, he was both excited and slightly unnerved by the transformations occurring within their bodies. The training intensified. Each team member found themselves pushed to limits they never knew existed. Jack's combat simulations became increasingly complex. One moment he was navigating a zero-gravity combat scenario, the next surviving in a toxic atmospheric environment. His military training was both an asset and a limitation, the simulations constantly challenged him to think beyond conventional warfare tactics. Zara discovered that her psychological expertise was being tested in ways she had never imagined. Scenarios required split-second emotional intelligence, the ability to read and manipulate complex social dynamics under extreme stress. She found herself solving intricate psychological puzzles that seemed to tap into the deepest recesses of human potential. Kai's engineering skills were transformed. The alien technology demanded a complete reimagining of problem-solving. Traditional engineering gave way to adaptive, almost organic technological solutions. He was learning to think like the technology itself, anticipating challenges before they fully materialized. Marcus began to understand the true depth of xenotechnology. These weren't just advanced tools, they were living systems that responded and evolved with each interaction. His expertise shifted from understanding technology to communicating with it. Elena watched her team's transformation with a scientist's careful observation and a human's growing sense of wonder. They were becoming something more than they had been, not through artificial enhancement, but through a profound understanding of their own potential. 56 hours into their preparation, a new challenge emerged. The holographic entity that had initially contacted them reappeared, its form more defined this time. The first trial approaches, it communicated. Humanity will be tested. The team exchanged glances. They had been transformed, yes. But the true test was yet to come. Whatever the galactic proving grounds had planned, they would face it together, a testament to human adaptability, resilience, and the unbreakable spirit of cooperation. The habitat module hummed with anticipation. The first arena awaited. The transition was instantaneous. One moment, the team stood within the familiar confines of their habitat module, the next, they found themselves suspended in a vast, otherworldly space that defied conventional understanding of environment and dimension. Jack was the first to react, his military training kicking in immediately. Defensive formation, he called out, his voice cutting through the initial moment of disorientation. The team moved with a synchronicity that spoke to their intense training, forming a tight, adaptive circle. The arena around them was alive, quite literally. Surfaces shifted and pulsed with an organic intelligence, creating and recreating terrain with each passing moment. Structural elements materialized and dissolved, creating a landscape that was part environment, part living entity. Biological-technological hybrid, Kai muttered, his hands already interfacing with the surrounding structures through the adaptive technology they'd been fitted with during training. The entire arena is one massive, responsive system. Elena's scientific mind raced. It's not just responding to us, she observed. It's analyzing us. Every movement, every breath is being processed and evaluated. A low, resonant tone filled the space, not quite a sound, more a vibration that seemed to penetrate their very being. Holographic interfaces flickered to life, displaying what appeared to be initial challenge parameters. Survival. Adaptation. Cooperation. The words hung in the air, more of a directive than a description. Suddenly, the arena began to transform. What had been a relatively stable environment fractured into multiple zones. Gravitational fields warped, creating areas of intense gravitational pull next to zones of near-zero gravity. Atmospheric conditions shifted rapidly, from breathable air to environments that would challenge even their enhanced physiological capabilities. Marcus was the first to notice the challenge's true nature. It's not about defeating an enemy, he called out. It's about navigating and surviving this living system. Zara's psychological training kicked in. We need to think collectively, she said, her voice calm and authoritative. Individual survival is secondary to team survival. The first wave of challenges came quickly. Holographic representations of potential threats materialized, some biomechanical, others purely energy-based constructs that defied traditional understanding of physical form. Each was a puzzle, a test of the team's ability to read, understand, and respond to completely alien challenges. Jack moved with a fluid grace that belied his military background. Where once he would have approached challenges with direct confrontation, now he demonstrated a more nuanced approach. He identified potential threat vectors, creating paths of least resistance for the team. Kai's technological interface was working overtime. He wasn't just reading the arena's systems, he was beginning to communicate with them. Brief moments of synchronization revealed complex patterns of logic and adaptive intelligence. Elena documented everything, her scientific mind working to understand the deeper principles behind their challenge. Each moment was a breakthrough in understanding alien cognitive and technological approaches to testing species. Marcus found himself translating the arena's language, not through words, but through complex technological and biological patterns. He was becoming a bridge between human understanding and the alien system's logic. Zara monitored the team's psychological state, ensuring that the intense stress of the environment didn't compromise their collective decision-making. Her interventions were subtle but critical, maintaining the team's cohesion. Hours passed, or what seemed like hours. Time itself became a fluid concept within the arena. The team's initial defensive formation had long since given way to a more organic, adaptive approach. They moved as a single unit, anticipating each other's actions with an almost telepathic precision. Preliminary assessment complete, the arena's directive resonated through their minds. But they knew this was just the beginning. As the first challenge concluded, the team stood transformed. They were no longer just 5 individuals. They had become something more, a unified entity that represented the true potential of human adaptability and cooperation. The galactic proving grounds had tested them. And humanity had proven itself more remarkable than anyone could have imagined. Tactical breakthrough. The aftermath of their first arena encounter was anything but peaceful. As the team recovered, they realized the challenge had fundamentally altered their perception of reality. The alien technology they'd been integrated with continued to evolve, creating a symbiotic relationship that blurred the lines between human capability and technological enhancement. Marcus Novak stood before a holographic display, his fingers tracing intricate patterns of energy and information. "We're not just adapting to their technology," he explained to the team. "We're creating a new form of communication. Every challenge is rewriting our understanding of interaction." Kai Chen nodded, his engineering background finding profound fascination in their transformation. The alien systems had recognized something unique in human potential, an ability to improvise, to see patterns where others saw chaos. Their next challenge arrived without warning. The arena materialized around them, but this time it was different. Gone were the fluid, organic landscapes of their previous encounter. Instead, they found themselves in a complex, multi-layered environment that resembled a massive, three-dimensional puzzle. Architectural structures defied known physical laws. Gravity seemed to be a suggestion rather than a constant. Energy conduits formed intricate networks that pulsed with an intelligence of their own. "This is a systems challenge," Jack observed, his tactical mind already analyzing potential approach vectors. "They're testing our ability to understand and manipulate complex interconnected networks." Zara focused on the psychological aspect. "It's more than a physical challenge," she added. "They're probing our collective problem-solving capabilities. How we think together is as important as what we can do individually." The first layer of the challenge revealed itself slowly. Holographic interfaces began to populate the space, presenting what appeared to be impossible scenarios. Technological barriers that seemed impassable. Energy networks that defied traditional understanding of physics. Elena Rodriguez approached the challenge with scientific precision. "We can't solve this through conventional means," she said, her voice calm and analytical. "We need to think beyond our current understanding." Their training kicked in. Where once they might have approached such a challenge as individuals, now they moved as a single, integrated unit. Jack's tactical expertise, Kai's engineering brilliance, Marcus's technological insight, Zara's psychological understanding, and Elena's scientific method merged into a single, powerful approach. Kai began to interface with the arena systems, his understanding now moving beyond mere technological manipulation. He was communicating, translating human intent into the complex language of the alien infrastructure. Marcus discovered something extraordinary. The challenge wasn't just about solving a puzzle. It was about demonstrating a specific type of intelligence, adaptive, cooperative, and fundamentally creative. Moments of breakthrough came in rapid succession. An energy conduit that seemed impossibly complex was reinterpreted through Marcus's understanding. Kai found ways to redirect and repurpose technological barriers. Jack identified strategic points of intervention that defied traditional tactical thinking. Elena's scientific approach provided the critical framework. "They're not just testing our ability to solve," she realized. "They're studying how we conceptualize problem-solving itself." Hours passed, or what seemed like hours in the fluid temporal space of the arena. The team's approach evolved with each new challenge. They were no longer simply responding. They were anticipating, creating, reimagining. Tactical assessment, exceptional, the arena's directive resonated through their minds. But the team knew this was far from over. Each challenge was building towards something more significant. A final test that would push the limits of human potential. As the current challenge concluded, they stood transformed once again. Not just as individuals enhanced by technology, but as a testament to human adaptability, creativity, and the power of collective intelligence. The galactic proving grounds were preparing them for something unprecedented. And humanity was proving itself more remarkable with each passing moment. Turning the tables. The silence that preceded their next challenge was more intense than any environment they had yet encountered. Where previous arena tests had been dynamic and chaotic, this moment was defined by an almost oppressive stillness. Jack felt it first, a subtle shift in the atmospheric pressure, a tension that spoke of something fundamental about to change. His military-honed instincts, now enhanced by their alien technological integration, were screaming a warning. "We're not just being tested anymore," Marcus whispered, his hands tracing complex holographic patterns that seemed to emerge from the very air around them. "We're being studied. Analyzed at a level beyond simple observation." The arena began to transform, but not in the way they had come to expect. Instead of dramatic shifts and impossible landscapes, the environment started to deconstruct itself. Layers of technological complexity peeled away, revealing increasingly fundamental systems of interaction. Kai Chen's engineering expertise went into overdrive. "They're showing us their infrastructure," he said, his voice a mix of scientific excitement and growing understanding. "Not just the surface-level challenges, but the actual mechanisms of their testing environment." Elena Rodriguez moved closer to the emerging systems, her scientific mind racing to comprehend the implications. Each revealed layer was a language, a complex dialogue of technological and biological interaction that went far beyond simple mechanical design. Zara monitored the team's psychological state, aware that this level of exposure could be as mentally challenging as any physical test. "We're witnessing something most species never get to see," she observed. "The actual thought process behind the galactic proving grounds." The challenge became clear: they were no longer just participants. They were becoming interpreters, translators of an alien technological language that defied conventional understanding. Holographic interfaces began to show not just challenges, but the very algorithms that created those challenges. It was as if the arena itself was revealing its inner workings, challenging the team to understand its fundamental nature. Jack's tactical mind saw the deeper strategy. "They want us to understand their system," he realized. "Not just to survive it, but to comprehend its underlying principles." Marcus discovered something extraordinary. The technological systems they were interfacing with were alive in a way that transcended traditional definitions of intelligence. Each interaction was a negotiation, a complex dance of mutual understanding. Kai found himself doing something unprecedented. He wasn't just reading the technological systems, he was beginning to communicate with them. Brief moments of synchronization revealed patterns of logic so complex they bordered on consciousness. Elena documented everything, her scientific methodology pushed to its absolute limits. Each moment was a breakthrough in understanding how alien intelligence might conceptualize challenge and growth. Hours passed, or what seemed like hours in the fluid temporal space of the arena. The team's approach evolved from survival to something more profound. They were no longer just responding to challenges. They were engaging in a dialogue with the very systems designed to test them. Comprehension protocols initiated, the arena's directive resonated through their minds. But this was more than a simple assessment. The team realized they were fundamentally changing the nature of the test itself. By understanding the systems at such a deep level, they were transforming from test subjects to something approaching collaborative participants. Zara noticed the most subtle change. The psychological barriers between the team and the arena were dissolving. They were no longer separate entities, they were becoming part of a larger, more complex system of understanding. As the challenge concluded, the team stood transformed once again. They had done more than survive. They had begun to understand. And in that understanding lay a power that went beyond any physical challenge. The galactic proving grounds had tested humanity. But humanity was proving to be far more remarkable than anyone could have imagined. The final challenge awaited.